So new from the ACC headquarters, let's talk about why, oh why, do they not want Florida State to have a vote while they're going through all this lawsuit mess? But Notre Dame, on the other hand, still gets to have a say-so. It's weird how things work out like that. And some ACC hoops. Which rivalry picked up a win? Let's talk about it on today's show.
You are Locked On ACC, your daily podcast on the Atlantic Coast Conference. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's edition of Locked On ACC. I'm your host, Candace Cooper, joined by Kenton Gibbs of Locked On Wolfpack. Each and every day, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Make sure you download, subscribe to the pod from anywhere, but join our YouTube page because when you subscribe there, you get a lot of community interaction. You can talk with other fans who love their favorite teams, a part of our joyous league. We got a lot to go over on today's show. We talk about a little lawsuit action, a little hoops, all the things in between, and maybe a little sprinkle or a little shade or a little stray towards some other teams that halfway in, halfway out of our conference. But first, I'd be remiss didn't introduce my co-host, Kenton Gibbs, who you can find on Locked On Wolfpack every day. He is full of all the tea, sometimes the stress, all that in between. But he's here.
Wow. I am
that
not
quite the introduction?
it was an excellent introduction, but I'll say this much. We talking about the wrong court, okay? We talk about the wrong court. The only suits I want to talk about is the little tearaway suits, which I don't even think they have them anymore. But those are the only suits I want to talk about. Not these lawsuits, but here we are.
Well, do you still have the warm-ups that you can rip away?
I miss those. I mean, it was always a dream of mine to get a Pistons warm-up.
There's still time for you to do such a thing.
And
I feel
rip it off.
Yeah.
And you might be going to the grocery store. Just rip them off and go grocery shopping. I'd be happy with that. But here we are instead talking about the lawyers getting involved and who gets a vote, who doesn't get a vote, who's in, who's out, foot in, foot out, what's going on. And it's just some yin-yang and riffraff, if you ask me.
Always some yin-yang, always some riffraff. But we'll remind you guys about our friends at FanDuel who never have yin-yang or riffraff. Today's episode is brought to you by them. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. All right, Kitten, let's, we love to get right into things here on the show. Florida State, the ACC, there's a lawsuit, as if you're new to the show, right? Florida State was a part of a 13-0 season. They got left out of the college football playoff, right? Sparked a lot of frustration. Jim Phillips went to Cape a little bit about it. Didn't really go on a tour, but he was frustrated, right? You had Mike Norvell coming out with all the things, and 13-0 just doesn't really matter. A lot of people are saying the ACC is whack. So then Florida State said, I'll do you one better. We're trying to get a lawsuit here to where we're out of this bad boy. We don't want any more parts, really, of the grant of rights that is really holding us back from being a good conference. So they had a lawsuit. The ACC countered said lawsuit and said, hey, I got something for you. Y'all think you getting out of this 360 deal, but this is Suge Knight. This is death row, baby. Welcome to it. Yep. We're not going to allow y'all to do it. And here we are. Now, to bring y'all up to speed now, the ACC has made an amendment to said lawsuit. They are trying to say, hey, not only do we want to sue y'all, countersue, we don't want y'all to have conversations and votes within our conference while we figure this little legal matter out.
Yeah, this is
Did I miss anything?
I mean, for the most part, no.
Pretty high level.
But I think that I'm looking at this situation, and this feels like a very ugly divorce. This feels like a very nasty, non-amicable thing. This feels like Jimmy Phillips, or Jimmy P, as we like to call him on this show, was sitting in the car crying like Yvette when she said, Jody don't love me no more. Because FSU not loving on Jimmy P no more got him hurt. And actually, they filed a suit first, to which Florida State tried to file a suit. And now the question is,
I thought Florida State filed the suit and then ACC countersued.
That's the popular thing about it. Everybody thinks that. So the ACC went a day before Florida State had their meeting and filed suit, and bada bing, bada boom, now you get what you get.
The real tea.
Yeah.
But my biggest thing, right? If the ACC really felt like this grant of rights is a 360 deal.
Yeah.
Right? Where there's bulletproof, don't matter. There's no way to get out. Why even file a suit? If you felt like your grant of rights was unbreakable, why even go to the courthouse? Why even file the papers?
That is a very good question. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, the answer to that question is very clear because the argument is, what state is it going to be in? Because there's something about Florida state laws that are much more favorable to Florida State's filing than the ACC. So the ACC said, we're going to file this thing right here to get it cracking like a bad bat in the state of North Carolina, as opposed to waiting and going in y'all backyard to handle this matter in Florida. We need it right now.
So the real Suge Knight is ESPN.
I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you this.
We have to give analogies here on the show because it helps for those who ain't trying to be too legalese up in this thing, right?
The reality is it's worse than that. ESPN ain't Suge Knight. And just imagine if there was somebody who owned the record company. Imagine if there was somebody who owned the company that owns Suge Knight and Jerry's company. That's ESPN. ESPN is going to win regardless of what happens here. Like ESPN is in that type of situation to where if Florida State goes to the SEC, guess who they got to talk to again? ESPN. If Florida State wants to go to the Big Ten, guess what they would then have to do? Agree to leave the Southeast, which means they got to go to Fox Sports. But now you're admitting that, or now not admitting, you're creating a situation where your players are guaranteed a minimum of, I want to say, you have 9 conference games or 8 conference games, 4 home, 4 away, at least 4 games a year where you're not going to be anywhere near home, nowhere near. What is the closest Big Ten team to Florida State? Maryland? Yeah. I mean, that's as close as you get. Yeah. So, that's the deal that you're looking at. This is, again, ESPN is playing a much more devious game than a Jerry or a Suge Knight. If somebody controlled both of those and was like, yeah, sure, get out of that 360 deal, come get another one, that's ESPN.
So I feel like the puppeteers are just like making everything crazy, right? Because at the end of the day, who gains from any of this foolishness? So that's my biggest issue. So
it's either Disney or Fox. That's who's going to win on this thing. Really, the Murdoch family, the Disneys. That's it. That's who's going to win out of this thing. That's who's pulling the strings.
The Murdoch family? A different Murdoch family. Because have you seen? Okay. You want to make sure we get the right Murdoch. It's a wild time here. All right.
The Murdoch family that owns Fox News, all that. That Murdoch family. Not,
a little jokey joke. All right, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So is that family or, Walt Disney's grandkids and whatnot and kids, they're going to get it. Either way, that's who's pulling the strings here because, I mean, this is a money battle. And everybody keeps talking about, well, if ESPN would just restructure the ACC's deal, now why would they go and do that? They have the ACC raked over the coals. They won. ESPN got what they wanted. They won.
They have the cojones, yes.
Exactly. And they know, Fox already got the Big 12 and the Big 10, sure. But the reality is we already have the SEC, and the SEC gets every eye because, again, a lot of them don't have professional teams. In some of those states, that is your professional team. So you're looking at a situation that it's a very unfortunate situation because now we're getting into the real petty area of it. That area in the breakup where it's like, well, you left your you left your hairpin over here and I'm going to throw them all away. Like that type of deal. That's where we are in this.
But see, I also wonder, which we're going to talk about here in just a second, is the ACC filing or having this battle with FSU, what are the other schools looking at, right? Are you looking at the side of, okay, FSU, if you guys have the cojones to do it, maybe we can step in too. I'm looking at you, North Carolina. I'm looking at you, Clemson. I'm looking at you. Well, NC State and North Carolina going together. Virginia, right? The teams like that. Or are you looking at as like, damn, ACC, how are you treating this one institution? How would you treat me? If I get out of order, step out of line, are you going to sue me too? Can they sue everybody? That's the other part. You can't sue everybody. That's the thing. You just can't. Let's talk about that here in just a second. But first, the NFL regular season is wrapping up, but there's still time to get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. You got same game parlays, new Explore tab, and make a parlay in the Parlay Hub. The best way to find popular parlays by visiting FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel is the official partner of the NFL. Kenton, I just feel like where do we lie here, right? Where does it really come together with whose side or how are other teams observing the situation?
So the other teams are watching tentatively, right? The reality is this. Somebody always has to be the first, and we see what happens with the first as to whether or not we repeat it, right? Mm-hmm. So, for example, I'm the youngest of 4, right? If I saw my big brother, my big sisters get away with doing something, I might try it, right? But if I saw that it was belt to behind when they did it, hold on now. That's how these other teams are looking at it. If Florida State
behind right now, is it giving belt to behind right now, or
it's not giving belt to behind? Okay, it's not giving belt to behind. It's right now. Right now, it's like they got caught doing deviousness, and it's the discussion of, but how devious was it really? And that's what the courts are here.
Was it a reprimand? Did they get reprimanded?
Watch it.
Right.
Watch it.
Right.
Watch yourself.
Too soon?
Watch yourself.
Okay. Right.
Watch yourself. No, but seriously, it's a moment where if Florida State can find that loophole to get out scot-free, then what's going to happen is there is going to be a drop that turns into a trickle that turns into the floodgates opening. But if Florida State has to pay a settlement of which I'm hearing the number of a settlement being realistically somewhere between 200 and 400 million, that's a different ball game because of all the teams you just named. Who has 2 to 4 to leave? Who?
Well, like you said, 1 lawsuit can turn into 2. 2 lawsuits can turn into 3. 3 lawsuits can turn into stress. Okay,
that it can. But again, if the first lawsuit turns into you have to pay 2 to 400 to leave, again, it's not. It's like they didn't get that like beat down, but they got a little whooping. Like you could hear what was going on. It just wasn't one of those, I got to take a break, get some Gatorade type whoopings. And don't call CPS on my mama. All of us are grown now. But the reality is, like, if you're looking and seeing that there are a bunch of teams or if you're looking as the other teams and seeing, oh my God, 200 million is the number, everybody gonna stay their tail right put. There is not going to be anybody thinking, oh, let me go ahead and pay out that 200 million. But again, if the Seminoles find a way to, as they used to say on Dice, I'm not a gambling man, I don't know this. But as people used to say, if they can hit back though, Lil Joe, if you will, if they can find that way out, then everybody else is going to follow them out the back door in terms of teams who would have a landing spot. But honestly and truly, I think that a lot of people need to understand when talking about the ACC, there are not that many teams that have a landing spot elsewhere. That's the reality, whether these teams want to accept it or not.
It's the fact that you know the phrase, but you don't bet. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
I am a law-abiding citizen, okay?
Right.
All
right, Cracker Jack Johnny. I don't know. What is it? Whatever. This is apparently a seminal moment for the ACC, for the conference, all pun intended, thanks to our friends here typing live in the chat. If you're listening to audio space, you'll run that back. You should go to YouTube and watch us. But, it's funny. We talked and we led with the fact that the ACC has a lawsuit. FSU, they don't want FSU involved in any of the voting. Right, that's a little new loophole that they've added to or amended to their filing. But it's crazy, right? We have another school who currently has votes, who doesn't participate in arguably the biggest, if not the biggest sport that we have here in the conference. Notre Dame, if you will. We're going to talk about them. Go ahead and call them out by name. How does Notre Dame get to have a vote? But Florida State is legally being tried to not have one while they do it through legal matters. Because I just feel like if you want to talk about having somebody by the cojones, Notre Dame really has the ACC by the cojones.
The Spinners once came out with a song that relates to this, okay? Mm-hmm. It takes a fool to learn that love don't love nobody. What we're looking at is the ACC is realizing that, you know, they've accepted we're never going to be the prettiest girl on the block to Notre Dame. We'll never be that. We'll never be the most handsome guy with the most money. We'll never be the one that they want the most. But they want us enough to stick around sometime. Or the Bill Withers, use me. That's another one. You know, if using me feel this good, go ahead, keep on using me till you use me up. That's what the ACC is saying. They can say, you don't have to bring your biggest offering. You don't got to bring the full paycheck. And don't worry, I'm not coming, Barbara, this is Shirley, to nobody else. I'm going to accept the piece of you that I get and be happy with that, which I don't agree with. I 1,000% don't agree with that. But there's a very different situation between what Notre Dame is doing, where they got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. We're not going to disrespect you. We're not going to go out the way to make you look crazy. And Florida State that's live streaming every day talking about, look at my broke husband over here, just sitting here poor. Why couldn't he be like the SEC? Why couldn't he look at this bad built wife of mine? Why couldn't she be like the why couldn't she be like the Big Ten? That's the difference here. You're looking at we don't like you versus like, hey, we're here tentatively. We're giving you a little something. I'm not going to give you the best that I got, but I give you some of what I got versus I don't like you. I don't want to be here.
That's very well said. Now, like, this seems to be just an awful situationship relationship in most parts. Like, the teams that are stuck, that are, you know, whatever, they sing quote unquote praises of the ACC. They're in a relationship, right? The rocky one at times, but they're in a relationship.
Yeah.
FSU is trying to get a divorce.
Yeah.
Right. Notre Dame is in a situationship.
Yeah.
And to me, it boils down top-down leadership. At the end of the day, you ain't got all your ducks in a row, Jimmy P. It's crazy that you have so many different, you on the app, you trying to start something with one over here, you trying to end something with one over there, you trying to, you know, maintain, right? But you're also trying to keep someone else on the limb. Like, it's just not effective leadership. And to me, going in legalese, all the things, trying to just go down this judicial route is insanity. Because where does it leave you, right? Your relationship people don't no longer trust you, right? Your divorce people are just like never again. And your situation people are still just, there was a phrase I was going to use, but it's not appropriate. I just feel like we got to figure it out. We got to figure something out. But
here's the thing. You know, Jalen Rose, a wise man in the Detroiter, once said, "You're only as faithful as your options are." And the reality is, the other teams don't have options. They can get out there on the dating market. They can get out there on Tinder, Plenty of Fish, Riot, Elite. They can get out on everything. They can get the plush premium version of everything. And guess what? They're gonna come right back home because they see there's nothing better out here. Like, let's just be very honest. And this is not.
What was that tweet? That grass ain't green, baby. Go home.
You know the thread where they were talking to Dale Curry. He said, "You think you want to be out here? You don't want to be out here." Well, everybody want to be out here. Everybody want to be out here till they get out here. Then all of a sudden, again, you know, if you think you're lonely now, wait until tonight. In terms of all these teams thinking, "Oh, well, my team's going to leave too." Where are you going to go?
Nowhere.
Florida State is big enough to where they have that type of pull to where they'll find a landing spot. But Clemson will find a landing spot. A lot of these other schools, with all due respect, this is not a knock against you all. This is not a knock against you all because with respects to who you all are academically, a lot of the schools in the ACC have a lot of academic rigor. If you talk about the new schools that just got added in the ACC, Stanford did not get picked up by the Big Ten for a reason.
Come on.
Cal did not get picked up by the Big Ten for a reason. And it's not a disrespect to those two. Those are two, trust me, I work in the deep tech world. I hire from there religiously. I'm telling you, in the sports world, they don't have that type of pull. And so you're looking around saying, even if Florida State does leave, even if Clemson does leave, even if, you know, you see a UNC and NC State leave together, whatever the case may be, most of these schools will end up just like the Big 12. You add in a few schools that were perceived as below you, and you keep it pushing with what is. I think the only tenable solution, Drake Toll and I talked about this before, if you can't beat those schools, beat the SEC or Big Ten via quality, you bring quantity. If you can't come with, hey, we can come with this school that is number 1 in viewership, this school is number 3 in viewership, this school is number 4, then what you need to do is say, we may not be able to get the top team, but every team that's in that middle tier, they all gonna come here. They all going to congregate together because at the end of the day, if they don't do that, everybody's going to die on the vine individually. With all due respect, Wake Forest, where you going? Boston College, where you going? Virginia Tech, where you going? And this is not to say that these are bad schools. I love Enter the Sandman. Love it. Absolutely love it. You're just not going anywhere. And that's, again, the reality is it's about the revenue that you bring and the eyeballs that you draw. Because if any school wants to leave and go to a different conference, you have to realize, can you break up their pie? Can you add to their pie is what I'm saying here. When a new person comes and sits down at the table, the food just got divided by 4 or 5 instead of how many were already there. So can you bring enough food to where it's like, oh, we all eat, as opposed to you just came to the plate with just your appetite? You came to the potluck and you ain't even bring napkins, baby? Oh, okay. You got to go.
Listen, how sad it is to be a league that just has to try and find and scoop out mediocre. Like, how sad it is that we can't even aspire for greatness. It can't mean more. Like, how sad it is that we could be champions and have, honestly, one of the best leagues, but because of national prowess, because we don't have someone at the helm who is going to war about us standing on business, we just look crazy. And I hate that for us. I truly, truly do. But time to pay another bill. All right, guys. At the start of the new year, every small business owner is asking themselves the same question. What's the one move I can make that'll take my business to the next level in 2024? LinkedIn Jobs knows that your success all depends on the team you surround yourself with. That's why LinkedIn Jobs has created tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for, because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you'll need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. E-words are kicking my butt today. eBay guaranteed fit, only available to U.S. customers. So wrapping up the show here, and we've got to talk a little bit of hoops. But to round out this conversation around the lawsuit, the updates, and all the vibes and all the things, I truly believe that the ACC has just put their foot in their mouth. We're grasping at straws to try and remain relevant. It's going to be a very interesting summer. Not only one to see who also filed a suit, but maybe to see how this all pans out. I hope it's not years and years of litigation that we have to go through. Like, maybe it's just time to cut bait and give them what they want. Scary thought, though, because if you do that, everybody's going to want that situation. So I don't feel like that's the answer going to happen.
I don't think everybody got 200, 300 mil to pay to get out. If that's
I don't even know it's going to, I feel like it's going to be 100 tops. Just get on with it.
I doubt that they're going to take 1/5 of what, and mind you, that's not the number that ACC folks produce, because I believe the ACC would like a number higher than that, 570 million, to be the number to get out. But the number that Florida State folks produced was 570. So if that's the case,
GP should be having conversation with the AD or the president of FSU, trying to work this out, trying to get their board of trustees, a weekend's package worth to Disney, something.
Oh, that should be sale. That should be said. You know that couple on Facebook that's always publicly arguing, and they get to talking about you didn't know how to wash up before I met you, or your kids always got on clothes that's too small. You know, that type of conversation. When that stuff come out on Facebook, you can't come back from that. Although we have seen couples come back from that in real life. You can't come back from that in terms of these conferences. You just can't do it. You know. It's the reality of this thing has gotten too ugly too quick, and that ship has sailed. If you wanted to save this relationship and reconcile it, there were things that they could have did way back when, but now, man.
100%. So how do you think this all ends up, though? Very honestly, how does this all work out?
I think the most likely outcome is Florida State takes a buyout of about $300 million, about somewhere between like 200 and 300, I think.
You got to pay a coach for the next 10 years, 10 million or however long the deal is. You now have to try and buy your way out of this. You got a, floundering basketball program that could have maybe helped if it was a little more elevated. Like, okay, softball, y'all getting it in. Soccer, really good women's soccer team. Like, y'all gonna have, Florida ain't got money like that now.
I'm gonna tell you this. I see people in the comments saying that the ACC or the ESPN is going to end the contract. Let me say this again. The ESPN has the ACC in the 360 deal. They're getting everything that they want. ESPN has no reason to end that they are getting plus value. Would you imagine if you had a situation where you got everything that you wanted out of a contract you signed with, let's say, your gardener or something like that? Your gardener not only cleans the outside of the house, they take care of your horticulture inside the house, right? All your plant babies inside the house. They water them, spray them down, and they take care of your fruits and vegetables in your fridge.
Gaining weight, and you get to eat cake and not gain a pound. That's basically what's happening.
That's what's happening. That's what ESPN had. They got calorie-free cake, and I know that that's a terrible idea in real life.
10 Bowberry biscuits, and I ain't even thought ain't messed me none.
10 Bowberry biscuits is crazy. That big mama your arm. but it's a very serious situation, and that this thing is kind of too far to be reconciled. And the best that I believe the Florida State can hope for is that settlement. The best that the ACC can hope for is that a judge fully sides with them and says, "Hey, you signed a bad contract. Deal with it. Live with it. If you want to get out, pay that $600 million or whatever the case may be."
We're so down bad to where we're saying deal with it. Like, you're here, you're stuck. That's just not great. But at the end of the day, I will say this, to end it right here. It is a business. As much as we all try to think this is kumbaya, we're all friends and we can shake hands and shimmy jive. Like, it ain't that, honey. It's a business, and Jimmy P ain't doing what he needs to do. And the ACC might not be here, but for as long as it is, we're gonna rock.
A spineless leader.
We're gonna rock, and we're gonna try and roll. All right, there's that. Now, we'd be remiss in the little conference time that we have left. Honestly, we should start a countdown, truly, because I know there's people that probably can't wait for Locked On ACC not to be here. There's basketball side to this thing, right? UNC picked up a win against Louisville, a little shaky win, a little bit of a, hey, we're going to give you a little heart attack in the middle of that one, but we're going to end up pulling through. Came through with a victory against Louisville, and, they're undefeated right now in conference play. They are doing what they needs to be done as a top floor program. Not much needs to be said here, but it was a solid game.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that people need to realize something, right? Louisville is not a good team. Absolutely. Sure. They are still Division I college basketball players. I know that everybody thinks, did I not say yesterday that line was a little too big? That UNC was going to win, but they were not going to cover 20-something?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, that is a bad team. They're still a Power 5 team. Right. And they're still going to give teams some headaches sometimes. There's still going to be some moments where they show up sometimes. And I'll tell you what, Sky, brother, that man has been balling. He has been showing up and showing out Sky Clark. He's been doing this thing. But again, you're not going to overcome a UNC team that is balanced, that is experienced, that has the ACC's leading scorer, that has one of the ACC's leading rebounders, they have guys who now, they don't have a bunch of guys who want to be stars. They have guys who have accepted that they can star in their role. And that's where you see a really good team coming from.
I really need Sky to go ahead and drop that hair routine, because baby, the puff is puffing. It looks immaculate. That's just, when girls watch programs, sometimes you get distracted, and his fro distracted me because it's gorgeous.
Me too.
Okay.
I just, the routine.
I tried to get you the Nutrafol, but you weren't playing.
So. Worry about yourself.
No.
Okay.
All right. Yelling in my ear. Okay.
You deserve it.
Virginia held it down at home, beating Virginia Tech, a rival that, listen, Hunter Couture returned. Padula did try to do his big one, but it was Minor returning for Virginia. That certainly helped that case for the Cavs. And I think at full strength, at health, Virginia is a good program. I'm sorry for talking junk.
We keep looking at this Virginia team wondering, when are they going to turn the page? When are they going to get better? When are they going to figure it out? This very well could be that moment, or this could just not be that type of team. But at the end of the day, I'm about this close. I'm about this close to hitting my free Padula chance. I'm about this close. And granted, does he do too much with the ball? Absolutely. Absolutely. Are there moments where he just needs to say, hey, I'm going to get rid of the ball and I'm going to go play off the ball. I'm going to trust that, we're going to run some screens for me. We're going to get me back open. Sure. But damn it, if somebody don't cut, if somebody don't get open, if somebody don't do something, what is the man to do? What is the man to do? Again, stop doing so much with the ball. It's a team sport, but somebody got to do something now. I can't blame it all on him. Help him, please. Beekman had help. Minor showed up tonight. So what are Padula's looking at his boys? Whenever y'all ready, come on. But please, expeditiously.
100%. Talk about last game here where FSU mightily beat Miami at Miami. Cleveland, now on Miami's team, was the one who hit the game winner last season for Florida State. Felt like tricky, and I felt like this game was personal for the Seminoles, and they gave them that get back. And you start to say to yourself, what's going on? What's going on here, Miami? It's a little struggle. Maybe the loss of, all of your stars, a good bit of your stars last season is starting to, rear its ugly head, but they got to turn some things around. Or is it just ACC play? Because kudos to the Seminoles for getting it done.
Right before halftime, Florida State really kind of took control of this thing. And I think that they never really looked back. Every time Miami went on a run, every time Miami pulled within striking distance, Florida State, Lenny Ham and the boys just said, not today, friends.
We're going to use that depth, okay?
And there really is a moment where you kind of look at Miami and you start to say, like, what happened from last year's Final Four team, or Elite Eight? What were they, Final Four or Elite Eight? I believe they were.
I really want to say they were the Final Four, and we need to act like we know that.
Either way it goes, that team. But the reality is, this is the new nature of college basketball, right?
Sure.
Like when you see players stick around for 3 to 4 years, when you see Isaiah Wong leave the program and all that, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it, right? You're gonna go from a Final Four team to a team that's struggling to make the tournament potentially next year, because it's the new nature of things. Rosters are turning over 40%. On average across the Power Five. And so when you see that, you're going to see years like this where Miami last year looked amazing, looked like world beaters at times, and then this year is like, But Florida State's turnaround is impressive. State's turnaround is impressive.
Very much impressive. Very much it reminds you that Hamilton really is one of the best to do it. And I think that's, a lot of credit should be given to him and his coaching style. And he definitely outcoached Larinaga last night. And I think as we look forward to ACC play, like we always try to say, anybody can get it, but damn it, just don't lose to Louisville. Help our quad wins.
Please stop losing to
Kenny
Louisville.
Payne is on watch. Payne is on watch.
No, you're not. They said that boys can't afford to fire him over there. I said,
like 7 years. I said,
you know what? I might want to get into coaching, because in the media, if they fire you, they got to pay you for 2 more weeks. That's it. You get that final paycheck and you're gone, buddy. But this, I got to get on this coaching plan where you get rid of me, you got to pay me for the next 50, 11 years, okay? I want to buy out. I want to buy out.
Give me, I just went on PTO for my full-time job, and I was like, this whole not working thing, actually, it's very much the vibe. So I don't know if I would be a coach that could, make myself get fired or figure out ways, but I don't know. Getting paid to do nothing is not bad. It's not a bad gig.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Reputation be damned. Reputation be damned. But,
Hey, listen, say what you want about reputation. ESPN took 2 completely mediocre coaches and turned them into superstars, okay? With all due respect to Dick Vitale and Lee Corso, who are now, kind of at the end of their run. Them boys was completely average at coaches. And, they got out of there. You killed my reputation. Kill it.
And we're done with this. I don't know. I'm not even going to go down said road with you today. All I know is
I'm joking.
I hope the fans come back for another edition of Candace and Kenton. Locked on ACC. We've got to talk about our Saturday, Sunday matchups here around the horn. Give our women's basketball a little love too. So make sure you check out check that out. Please leave a comment for today's show. Tell us how you feel about the ACC lawsuit. Tell us how you feel about Florida State not getting a vote potentially, and Notre Dame certainly getting one. We would love to hear your feedback in that. I know this one is going to take off, as it usually does when we talk about our friends in Tallahassee. So for Candace Cooper and Kendon Gibbs, we look forward to seeing you. Until next time.